Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. And to answer that, we need to rewind the clock to this very real, 100% authentic conversation that I had with a few friends on Discord. Hello, friends and not paid actors. I am thinking I would like to clear Legendary Temple of Febe.
Amaverra, you are not capable of that.
I agree. The content is too hard and you are not good at the game.
Challenge accepted. Alright, so if you're still watching this video, it's for one of two reasons. The first is that you're my mother and are just watching this out of love. And since my mother doesn't even know how to change the volume on a television, it's likely option 2, which is that you're vaguely interested in what you've seen so far and are curious where this is going. But really, if you're still watching, you know this is going to be good. You should just subscribe. Just push the button. It's right there. Do it. The game you're watching is called Guild Wars 2, and the content we're trying to do is called the Legendary Temple of Febe. What the f*** is that sound? Anyway, when it first came out, the Temple of Febe was... Okay, does anybody know how to pronounce this raid?
Phoebe?
Nope, I already tried Febe.
Phoebe.
That could be Febe.
Phoebe.
Guys, these aren't super helpful anymore.
Phoebe!
Ow, my ears.
Temple.
Did I just hear someone say
Oh,
February? Did I just hear someone say feet? Guys, can you just
Phoebe, or Phoebe for short.
Alright, let's just Google this.
To see you here in the Temple of Febe.
Oh. Anyway, when it was released in Secrets of the Obscure, the challenge mode of Temple of was deemed so hard that even ArenaNet, the game's developers, significantly reduced the difficulty. However, for those who felt they could handle the original version, a title was created: Legendary Conqueror of Ceres. And I'm going to get it. Hi, I'm Amaverra, dad gamer, Twitch streamer, and ArenaNet partner, and hopefully an eventual Legendary Conqueror of Ceres. But for this video series, no one's gonna know that. That's right, I'll be getting this title on a brand new account. No account-wide legendaries, no masteries, no currencies, no gem store quality of life. My own guild won't even know who I am. And with this brand new account, I'll be getting to level 80, unlocking my elite spec, gearing up, and conquering not only Challenge Mode Temple of, but also Legendary Challenge Mode Temple of. Now, I know what you're thinking, but why? Well, my account is over 12 years old, but despite having most raid achievements, and having cleared most raids and strikes on normal and challenge mode, I've never felt like I've truly beaten the game. Ever since the release of Temple of, that title has been the goal I set for myself, so I could finally have the satisfaction that I've mastered Guild Wars 2. But why stop there? Why not turn this into a journey that anyone could follow? The idea is that if I can do this, so can you. So let's go. Follow me as I start my journey to become a legend. Alright, so before I get into exactly how I'll be preparing for this journey, let's go over exactly what this challenge means and why it's so difficult. The Temple of has 3 variants. First is normal mode, which is very accessible for most players and considered the standard difficulty. To beat normal mode, you don't need any special knowledge ahead of time or much coordination. You can join a group off the LFG with a decent build and with some situational awareness of avoiding orange circles, and your group should be able to beat Ceres without much effort. Challenge mode is a large step up in difficulty. Existing mechanics become harder to deal with and more punishing, and new threats are introduced which really push players up against the 10-minute enrage timer. To beat challenge mode, you will need a dedicated group of 10 players who are able to communicate vocally that meet together regularly. This single encounter can take weeks of practice to beat, especially because the further along in the fight you get, the harder Ceres hits, and the more your team's small mistakes begin to add up. Finally, we arrive at LCM, Legendary Challenge Mode, the original difficulty that ArenaNet nerfed shortly after release. Legendary mode makes all the mechanics from Challenge Mode even more punishing, and adds more health to the boss. Now I know what you're thinking, oh big deal Amaverra, just hit your buttons harder, just to be better at the game, la 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 la. Well, okay, put down your crayons you Neanderthal, because we're about to do some math. Who's taller than Neanderthal? We are so screwed. In normal mode, Ceres has 53,087,400 health, With a 10-minute enrage timer, this requires a 10-man squad to have a combined total of 88,479 damage per second. For reference, a well-equipped player can do approximately 5 to 8,000 damage per second with just their auto attacks, so this DPS benchmark is trivial. Challenge mode brings this to 106,174,800 health, bringing the damage per second, or DPS, requirement closer to 190,000 from the squad. Legendary mode Ceres has a staggering 130,064,136 health. If we include the health of his split phases, there is a total of 137,142,456 damage that must be dealt. Thus, the squad must maintain 228,000 DPS for 10 minutes straight. Now look, I get it, those numbers don't mean anything unless you already play the game, but bear with me, alright? We're almost done. So keeping in mind that there are 2 healers in every squad that do virtually no damage at all, and 2 players who sacrifice some personal DPS to maintain effects that improve the overall squad's damage, the practical DPS requirement per player was approximately 30,500. Now if you're browsing Snowcrows, you're probably noticing that almost every build listed there does more damage than that. But that's against a stationary target in perfect conditions. In reality, if you look at the logs that were uploaded by those who successfully cleared LCM at launch, you'll quickly notice that most players were just barely meeting the DPS requirement. I am not screwing around when I say that this content is hard. These requirements were so constraining that the world first and all subsequent clears for nearly a year were only possible with an extremely strict group composition that required all 6 pure damage dealers to be using Virtuoso and elite specialization of Mesmer. However, in February of 2025, the damage potential of Virtuoso was reduced, threatening the potential for even this group composition to clear Legendary Temple of Febe. In time though, this change forced the community to develop a new strategy that is frequently referred to as the Flower Strat, the details of which we'll cover in a later video. This strategy allowed players to deal damage on classes other than Virtuoso, breaking the dam and allowing much more flexibility in group composition. And so, we were able to pick Willbender. While I did get several level 80 boosts from purchasing the various expansions, like I said, I didn't want to take any shortcuts. So I followed the Adventurer's Guide, using the XP rewards to slingshot my character through the leveling process. The leveling process was fairly standard, so instead of padding this video with filler footage, have a montage. Level 20, Level 30, Level 40, Level 34, Level 50, Level 60, as Abe Lincoln said, Level 70, and Level 80. Alright, let's talk build crafting. My original draft here had me going into way too much detail about the trait system, and there are probably better guides out there anyway, so we're just going to glaze over this a little. The short version is that just like any other MMO, Guild Wars 2 allows you to customize your character to be a healer, damage dealer, or something in between. There are 3 trait slots from which you can pick from 5 different trait lines to tailor your character to your needs. Cool? Cool. The important one though is this last one. This is where you can slot an elite specialization, which drastically alters the playstyle of the class. As of this video, every class has 4 elite specs to choose from. Willbender is the one I'm choosing. Elite specializations are unlocked using hero points. You get hero points by completing challenges and interacting with nodes scattered throughout the game. Hero points in expansions give 10 points compared to 1 in the base game, and thank for that because elite specializations require 250 points to unlock, and you can't train them until you've fully trained all core traits. Unlocking an elite specialization on a new account turned out to be a lot more complicated than I initially thought. Heart of Thorns required bouncing mushrooms, which I didn't have. Many of the Path of Fire hero points required either a Springer or a Skimmer, which I didn't have. So I was stuck with End of Dragons, which turned out to be the easiest hero points to get anyway. Honestly guys, if you ever decide to do something like this for yourselves, be smart, just go straight to Cantha. Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire were such a waste of time, holy shit. Once I had Willbender fully unlocked, there were just a few final things to do. Unlock Weapon Master training, and complete the Secrets of the Obscure story to the point I could access the Wizard's Tower, which is where players enter Temple of. And with that, Phase 1 of getting my character ready was complete. Unfortunately, Phase 1 was the easiest, as Phase 2 would require me to acquire full Ascended gear and infusions, which meant I was going to need gold, and lots of it. And for that, with the next episode, we will be heading into raids.